So I've been thinking, are field spells becoming part of the problem in Yu-Gi-Oh? Let's talk about it. So before you raise your pitchforks and your torches and you attack me, hear me out. Alright, so the card that brought this all to my attention really was, of course, Dragonic Diagram. This card, outside of being, really expensive, is really hyped up, and it's making, True Kings and True Dracos, but True Kings be used in loads of decks. And it's cool. It's a combo card. It makes a lot more decks viable. Obviously it's responsible for the True King Dino deck. You can tech it in a load of other decks, and it works really well. You just destroy your own cards, you search True Kings, it does stuff. It's cool, it's awesome. But when I look at field spells as a whole, they offer some really unique advantages lately, at least, that are, maybe things that people might consider unbalanced in the past. So, of course, there's Dragonic Diagram, but a lot of field spells are just rotas. You think of things like Magical Meltdown that just searches Alistair, and we all know how annoying Alistair can be. There's also, things like Union HANGAR that just searches a Union monster, and then when you summon the Union monster, it gives it, another material, and that's why ABCs have been so powerful. And then there's maybe less extreme examples, right? Like we've got Hidden City for Subterrors, a card that I think is totally balanced. I mean, they definitely need it. It's not that great of a deck, it's bricky. And there's things like Cosmo Town that can be really annoying. The main thing though that I'm finding with the field spells is they're getting to that point where they can always search stuff. And they're actually they're rotas for these archetypes, but what you have to remember is that there's terraforming too. So basically you can run an archetype with it's 3 copies of Rota, right? It's 3 Dragonic Diagrams or 3 Hidden Cities, Union Hangars, whatever. But you also have 3 Terraformings. Now, I know this idea might sound a little crazy, but there were people back when ABCs were just hyper dominant who wanted to see Terraforming itself actually get limited rather than, there were a lot of people who wanted Union Hangar limited, but there were people who just thought maybe Terraforming should get limited. Maybe it shouldn't be so easy to just search these field spells. Because when you think of, once upon a time when field spells were maybe more just kind of like a control thing, or they netted you some very gradual advantage or some small benefits, maybe, an attack boost. I think of prominent field spells being things like, I guess, Necro Valley comes to mind. Those sort of cards. Maybe the Grand Spellbook Tower for spellbooks, or Mount Sylvania for Sylvans. Cards that, they got you advantage and they advanced the strategy, but they were never just these free pluses. And, some of the field spells have restrictions on them, like you can only activate, 1 hidden city per turn, but some of them don't, like Dragonic Diagram, where, the consistency of that card is what makes True Dracos so annoying. And, I have mixed feelings about, True Dracos. It's a deck that I was really excited to play it. I've played it now, and it's just this deck's really kind of boring. But, the reason it's so consistent outside of the Pot of Desires and the Card of Demise and, all that stuff is the fact that, you are almost always going to see Dragonic Diagram just because you've got 3 of it and you've got 3 Terraforming, and you can just always use Terraforming and always search it, and it can just get to that point where it's just so consistent that it's a little bit annoying because, we think of these cards, and you can make the argument, right? You can make the argument that Tinky's always been like this, and, of course, there's Zodiac Barrage. And you can also make the argument that these field spells are easy to stop. You can always use MST, you can always use Twin Twisters. So, maybe I'm completely wrong, but what I feel like is it's basically you're getting, the 3 copies of the field spell, and then 3 copies of Terraforming, and it's that's a lot of consistency when you consider that, we've cards like Rota to 1, and even in the past, a lot of those 1-card searcher things, for a while, Hieratic Seal and stuff like that, it had been limited. So it's really strange to see Konami just make these field spells such instant, advantage generators. And I want to reiterate, this isn't a foregone conclusion. I'm not saying that field spells are broken. I'm not saying that your favorite field spell needs to get banned or limited. What I'm saying though is that it's something that we could think about. I want to know what you guys think. Is Terraforming a card that maybe should get limited? At the time of release, it was perfectly fine. Searching field spells was whatever. You usually ran 1 Terraforming, 2 copies of your field spell, because it just was never really that important. But nowadays it's 3 Terraforming, 3 of a field spell, because the field spell is the Rota, and you're churning them out as fast as you can every turn, or however many times you can do it. And so it's just it's making the decks really hyper consistent. So would it be, a decent idea to consider limiting or semi-limiting terraforming, and then that way, you know, you don't have to limit the field spells themselves. I have mixed opinions. You know, I don't think that, again, the field spells are that bad. Some decks honestly need it, but I do think that, you know, when you play against True Dracos so often and to see them opening up with Diagram or Terraforming to Diagram every turn, same with Invoke, you know, Eidolon, Windwitch, Artifact thing. Magical Meltdown's annoying card, so, you know, just when it all just sort of combines and is so consistent for these decks that are already really powerful and already have lots of searchability and all that, it just really does lead you to wonder. So that's what I want to know from you guys. I want to know you guys' thoughts. This wasn't, you know, meant to be a video that says a certain card needs to get banned, but it's just like, are field spells kind of becoming part of the problem? And, you know, I know there are plenty of other problems in Yu-Gi-Oh! That we've got to talk about. This is not the top of the, you know, this isn't high on the priority list, but it is a thing that, you know, might be worth thinking about. So that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys liked it. Remember, I'm doing a giveaway of a Maximum Crisis booster box provided by TCG Player. If you want details to enter that, just check it out down in the description. I also made several videos about Maximum Crisis. I'm going to be opening lots of boxes, so you'll want to subscribe just so you can make sure to catch all that. I think that's all I've got. So thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.